Another solid 5 minute range retest towards the downside. Welcome back to another trade recap. Today is March the 3rd. Super solid day towards the downside. Nice pop and fade off our pre-market game plan, off that previous day lows on the SPY and the QQQ. Super solid way to start off the month so far. Up both days here. They haven't been easy though, right? Both based off the 5 minute time frame. You have to be a lot more patient in this market, specifically for continuation trades, since there's been a lot of mean reversions. We'll kind of touch up on that a little bit more. As for my trading statistics for the month so far, $6,000 on Monday, today, $7,000, putting me up about $14,000 for the week and for the month as well. As I mentioned, these trades that we've been taking, higher time frames looks fairly solid, but intraday, they've been tougher since you have to be very patient and of course manage your position on the 5 minute time frame. If you're on the 1 minute time frame for entries, which is fine, but you have to be managing them on the 5 minute if you're going to look for that continuation. So let's go on to the trade I ended up taking today, which was on Tesla towards the downside. I ended up making 7,700 on this one, as I mentioned. Broke underneath that 5 minute range low, rejected off that 394. As long as you can maintain underneath that 5 minute range low, you can see we're looking for a continuation towards the downside. As I mentioned, based off the 5 minute chart, 5 minute looked fairly solid here. The overall thesis was, of course, the pop and fade on the overall markets. Let's go on to the pre-market game plan before we do anything else and look at exactly what we're looking for coming into market open. Game plan March 3rd. Coming into today, as you can see, we have a big move towards the lows in the overnight session, currently right at the bottom of the range. What I'd like to see today is the reaction that we have off previous day lows on SPY and Qs. QQQ 598, SPY 678 are key. I would like to see the markets break outside the range on the higher time frames. If we can do that, we can look for higher time frame continuation. As I mentioned, the names to keep an eye out for: Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, all off previous day lows. So the main thing coming to market open here was QQQ reaction here off our 598. And you can see coming to market open, we were actually closer to the lower of the range. So one of the game plans was pop and fade for continuation lower. We're now shorts underneath our 593. As you can see, within the first 5 minutes, push up in towards our previous day lows. And you can see some sellers kind of stepping in off this previous day lows. So once the sellers stepped in, we are now looking for that continue push back down in towards, of course, low of day plus continuation towards the downside. For the SPY was a little bit weaker, so never came up in towards that previous day lows, but Q's rejected, so that's why we're looking for SPY continuation towards the downside here as well. So once the Q's ended rejecting off our key levels, broke underneath this 598, Tesla was one that was showing a bit more weakness. Underneath key levels, in this case, we had our 394 marked out. We're looking to target our pre-market lows. So in this case, for Tesla, I was interested in the 5 minute range low retest. Once we had that nice rejection, entered in on Tesla, looking for continuation towards pre-market lows and below. And as you can see on the 1 minute time frame, came up, right, never closed above, 5 minute maintained underneath here as well. Maintain Tesla as long as you can hold underneath our 5 minute range low, just kind of taking scales along the ways. But of course, I wanted to see a little bit more continuation. So I had to hold through a little bit of drawdown here, but that was based off the 5 minute time frame, as I mentioned. And as you can see, overall markets just maintaining underneath key levels. And finally, right, we had that spillage towards the downside. Qs was staying heavy, SPY was staying heavy. So we're looking for that flush coming to 10 o'clock, just because the higher time frame is gapping down, market staying heavy intraday. So we're just looking for continuation lower towards the downside. And as for Tesla, my main objective was, of course, our previous day lows. So once that hit, I was just kind of scaling along the ways, left some trailers, ultimately stopped out once we finally got back above our previous day lows. But not being a solid trade, right? We had some nice continuation, but as I mentioned, we had to hold through quite a bit, which was a lot easier said than done. As I mentioned, 5 minute setups have been the way. If you do want to see some continuation, if you're not on the 5 minute time frame, it is very hard to hold, especially if you're playing 0 day contracts or if you have closer expirations. But now with this being said, let's kind of go on to exactly the trade I ended up taking, or sorry, let's go on to the live session for today. Let me pull this up. So as you can see, I have the live session pulled up here, and coming to market open, the key thing here was the Q's potential pop and fade off our previous day lows. Tesla key level that I had was our 394. And as I speed up the tape here, you can see overall right off the bat, a little bit more consolidation on the Q's, but Tesla started staying heavy underneath our 394. So that's what started getting me interested in potential continuation towards the downside. Keep speeding up here, right? At this very moment, I'm interested in downside here. Qs, as long as you can maintain underneath previous day lows, looking for continuation. Tesla got in some of the 390 puts here. Stop just to break above, looking for continuation towards the downside. Qs, as you can see, gravitated towards low of day. Tesla, we're right at our key level 5-minute range plus up close candle. And as we speed it up here, Qs end up rejecting. Tesla, nice low of day push. But you can see overall market is just kind of consolidating here. Nothing too much. Tesla's still rejecting off our 5-minute range low. And at this point in time, right, SPY's weak, Q's is weak, but we're just being patient, right? There's nothing really happening here. No reason to exit out of our position because the SPY's still weak on the higher time frames and it's weak intraday. So we're looking for that flush coming into 10 o'clock. We had to wait. We had to be very patient here. It came very close to our stop loss, was in a little bit of drawdown here as well. And then eventually we had that nice 5-minute range, that 5-minute time frame push towards the downside, and then SPY finally flushed. And that's when we had that nice continuation, of course, on Tesla towards the downside. And that's when Qs flushed, as you can see here, down in towards your pre-market lows. SPY underneath your pre-market lows down in towards key levels, and then Tesla previous day low, we had that room down in towards 383. But ultimately now the markets are bouncing, so I end up cutting the rest of my position. But that was a super solid move towards the downside. Similar thing as we kind of talked about in the pre-market preps and in the trade reviews, right? You have to be very cautious. Overall markets have been a lot more slower just because of these big overnight sessions. Big moves in the overnight sessions make it for the New York session to be a little bit more trickier. A lot of 5-minute setups here as well, so we have to be very patient. So we're just going to continue to be very selective here until we see a clear direction in the overall markets. Until then, we're going to be a lot more patient, right? Size down, right? Base trades off the 5-minute time frame, give them a little bit more breathing room. Yeah, that's about it. Nothing else too much to talk about. We'll have an update for you guys tomorrow morning on exactly what we're looking for. As I mentioned, we're going to take it day by day here just because there's a lot of information. More news could potentially come out. So yeah, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub, and I'll see you guys next week for a brain. I'll see you guys, tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.